Welcome students to online classes of mathematics for class 8. In this video we are going to study chapter number 13th, which is direct and inverse proportions of NCERT textbook, and we'll be covering the exercise 13.2. This is the session number 2 for this particular chapter. Myself Deepak Gautam, DGT Mathematics in Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. So let's start with today's class. The chapter number 13, direct and inverse proportion, is divided into total 3 subtopics which are listed here, after which we have already covered the first two subtopics in the previous session. Okay, so today we'll be looking at the third one, which is the inverse proportion. Okay, so let's understand what do we mean by the inverse proportion. By inverse proportion, we means there are some certain relation in your day-to-day life that the one variation in one quantity will change the other one also, but in reverse manner. That is, if one is increasing, other one will decrease. Okay, for example, suppose if we have 10 chocolates. Okay, if we have 10 chocolates and which is to be distributed among 10 children. Okay, so if we distribute this chocolate in 10 children, that means each children will get 10 by 10 is 1, that is each children will be getting one chocolate. Okay, what if we increase the number of student? Okay, that is chocolate remains same 10. Okay, and if we increase the number of children from 10 to 20, so that means now each will get the 1 by 2, that is 0.5, that is half of the chocolate. Okay, or if we reduce the number of children, that is again the chocolates remain same, that is 10. If we decrease the number of students from or the children from 10 to 5, it will, that mean in that case each will be getting the 2 chocolates. Okay, which means initially we had 10 chocolates and 10 children, so each one is getting 1 chocolate. Okay, but if we increase the number of children, okay, see here we have increased the number of children, what it effect it cause is the each quantity that each is getting will reduce. Okay, that means increase in the number of children is reducing the quantity of the chocolate each one is getting. Okay, now see the next one. From earlier 10 children to we have decreased the number of children. Okay, so we are going downward, we have decreased the number of children. In that case, earlier they were getting 1 chocolate each, now they are getting 2 chocolates each. That means the number of chocolate has increased from 1 to 2. Okay, now you can see if we increase one quantity, other one is decreasing, or if we decrease one quantity, other one is increasing. All such type of relation are called inverse proportion. Okay, you can understand this with one more example. Okay, like we know the speed is given by the formula distance divided by time. Okay, this is the general formula for speed, that is S is equals to d by t. Okay, let's have a condition there. The distance is fixed, that means we have to travel 100 kilometers. Okay, so what if we have to cover this in 4 hours? So what should be our speed? That means our speed will be, we are covering the 100 kilometer, and if we want to cover this distance in 4 hours. Okay, that is distance is 100, time we have taken as 4 hours, so that means 100 divided by 4 will get 25. That means our speed should be 25 kilometers per hour. Okay, now let's increase the time from 4 to 8. In that case, speed will be, again the distance is same, we have increased speed from time from 4 hours to 8 hours. In that case, our speed will be 12.5 kilometers per hour. Okay, so what if we decrease the time? That is, if we take distance is again same 100, and if we decrease the time from 4 to 2 hours, in that case our speed will be 50 kilometers per hour. Okay, so now you can see initially we have if we travel by 25 kilometers per hour, so we are taking 4 hours. Okay, if we decrease the speed from 25 to 12.5, the time taken is increasing. Okay, in similar fashion, if we increase the speed, the time taken is decreasing. Okay, so this is another example of inverse proportion, where increase in one quantity will cause subsequent decrease in the other one, or decrease in other one will increase the other one. Okay, so let's understand this definition now. The inverse proportion is simply the two quantities x and y are said to be in inverse proportion if, so listen this carefully, if an increase in x, so if we increase the quantity x, causes a proportional decrease in y. Okay, so if we increasing x, okay, if you increase the quantity x, that will cause the proportional decrease in quantity y. Okay, and vice versa. Vice versa means the reverse of this. So if we decrease x, that will cause increase in y. Okay, in such a way that the product of their corresponding values remain same. Okay, their product will remain same. In direct proportion we had ratio. Okay, in case of direct proportion their ratio was same, but in case of inverse proportion their product is same. Okay, that means this, if you multiply x and y, you will get a constant number k. Okay, so whatever the value of x and y, you will always get their multiplication as a fixed number, which is k. Okay, that x and y are said to be varying inversely. If x is increasing, so y will decrease, or if x is decreasing, so y, then y will increase. Okay, so now if x1 and x2 are the values of x corresponding to the y1 of y, okay, respectively, then we have this relation, that is x1 into x2, sorry, x1 into y1 will be equals to x2 into y2. Okay, that is the multiplication of the one quantity, that's x1 into y1 will always be equals to x2 into y2. So this is the relation which is exactly same that we are going to use in the questions of inverse proportion. Okay, the difference here is, in case of direct proportion we are using x1 by y1 equals to x2 by y2, while in case of inverse proportion we are using x1 multiplied by y1. Okay, in direct proportion we had the division of x1 by 1, and while in inverse proportion we have multiplication of x1 and y1. Okay, so we are going to use this formula in the exercise 13.2. Okay, so now let's move to the exercise 13.2. The question number 1 of 13.2 is, we have to identify which of the following is in inverse proportion. Okay, so question is, which of the following are in inverse proportion. So we are given certain statements here, and you have to, from the statement you have to identify which one is direct proportion or inverse proportion. Okay, so let's see. First one, we have the number of workers on a job and time to complete the job. Okay, so we are given a relation here, that is of number of workers on a job and the time to complete the job. Okay, as you know, if we increase the number of workers, okay, if we increase the number of workers working on a particular job, what will happen? The time taken by them to complete the job will decrease. Okay, if we increase number of workers from 10 to 20, that means the time taken by the 20 people will be lesser than is compared to the 10 workers. Okay, so first one is the case of indirect proportion. Okay, as number of workers is increasing, time taken to complete the job will decrease. Okay, so let's try. This is answer number 1, part A, or we get part 1 is, this relation is inverse proportion. Okay, inverse proportion, because as the number of workers on job increase, the time taken by them will decrease to do the job. Okay, as the number of workers increase, the time taken by them will start to decrease. Okay, so this is the case of inverse proportion. Okay, let's see the second one now. Second is the time taken for a journey and the distance traveled in uniform speed. So as the speed is uniform, and we have to find the relation between the time taken. Okay, let's see. If the speed is 60 km per hour. Okay, so in 1 hour the vehicle will travel 60 km. In 2 hours it will travel 120 km. In 3 hours it will travel 180 km. Okay, so as we are increasing the time, okay, the distance traveled is also increasing. So this is an example of direct proportion. Okay, so we'll write direct proportion, because as the because as the time is increased, the distance traveled will also increase. Okay, increased if the vehicle is moving in uniform motion. Okay, if speed is uniform. Okay, so this is an example of direct proportion, because that as we increase the time of the journey, the distance travel will also increase if the speed remain unchanged. Okay, let's see the third one now. Third one is the area of cultivated land and the crop harvested. Okay, this is simply the example of direct proportion. Okay, as the area of land increase, the crop harvested will also increase. Okay, so we'll write this as the direct proportion, because as the area of cultivated land increases, the crop harvested will also increase. The crop harvested will also increase. Okay, let's see the next one now. Fourth one, it is the time taken for a fixed journey and the speed of the vehicle. Okay, so in earlier example the speed was fixed. Okay, now the journey is fixed, that means the distance is fixed. Okay, so if the distance is fixed and time taken by the vehicle will be the lesser if we keep on increasing the speed. Okay, if we go by the speed of 30, will take certain hour, if certain time. Okay, if we increase our speed from 30 to 60, that means the time taken will be half. Okay, if we increase the if keep on increasing the speed, the time taken will be decreasing for a fixed distance. Okay, by fixed journey it means by fixed distance. Okay, so this one is the example of inverse proportion. Okay, because as we increase the speed of vehicle, the time taken will decrease. Okay, if we increase the speed, the time taken will decrease. That means this is an example of inverse proportion. Now let's see the fifth and the last one of this, the population of a country and the area of land per person. Okay, this is simply the example of inverse proportion. As the population keep on increasing for any given country, the land that every person have will start to decrease. Okay, you can understand this with the help of example. So if there are five members in a family. Okay, if we increase the number of members from 5 to 20, that means the amount of space each person will have start to decrease. Okay, so this is also example of inverse proportion. Okay, because the land per person. Okay, because the area of land per person, land per person will decrease with increasing population. Okay, so first fourth and fifth are inverse proportional, and second and third are of direct proportion. Okay, now moving to the next question of this exercise, which is question number 2. It says, in a television game show, the prize money is 1 lakh is to be divided equally amongst the winner. Okay, so there is a one television program show, they are giving the prize money of 1 lakh rupees. Okay, and that will be divided into among the all the winners. Okay, so we have to complete the following table and find out whether the prize money given to an individual winner is directly or the inversely proportional to the number of winners. Okay, this simply means as the prize money is fixed to, which is as 1 lakh. Okay, if there is only one winner, so he will get the entire money, that is 1 lakh rupees. Okay, as it is given in here. Okay, if there are two winners, in that case, that means with this 1 lakh will be divided among the two, that means each will get 50,000. Okay, so what we can notice from here only, that as the number of winners are increasing, the money each will start to decrease. Okay, which means the number of winners and their prize money is inversely proportional. Okay, now we have to complete this table. Okay, for 4 winners, 5 winners, 8 winners, 10 winners, and 20 winners. Okay, so let's start the answer number 2. Okay, so first we'll write, as the number of winners are increasing, the prize money will start to decrease. Okay, so we'll write, this is the case of inverse proportion. Okay, so in every question you have to write whether it's a case of inverse proportion or direct proportion. Okay, in exam you will be just given a question which you have to identify whether it's a direct proportion or inverse proportion. Okay, but in this book we know all the questions in 13.1 are direct proportional and all the questions 13.2 are inverse proportional. Okay, but in question there will be no such division, you have to identify that by yourself. That's why in every question you have to mention this whether it's a direct proportion or inverse proportion. Okay, let's consider these all these values as x1, x2. Okay, these as the x, so this will be x1, x2, x3, x4, and so on, and these values will be y1, y2, y3, and y4. Okay, so let's start. We have, this is the case of inverse proportion, therefore we can use, so we are going to use the relation of inverse proportion, that is, let's see it for the first part 1. We have, in inverse proportion we have x1 into y1 equals to x2 into y2. Okay, while in direct proportion we had x1 by y1 and equals to x2 by y2. This is in direct proportion. Okay, in direct proportion x1 and y1 are division, while in inverse proportion x1 and y1 are in multiplication. Okay, since the values of x2 and y2 are already given, we are going to find out for the value of y3 and x3 and y3, so we'll change it to x3 and y3. Okay, in every case this relation will be same. So x1 is 1 here, y1 is 1 lakh with 5 zeros. Okay, x3 is 4 and y3 we have to calculate. So y3 from here is 1 into 1 lakh is again 1 lakh with 5 0 divided by 4 will give us 25,000. Okay, now let's see for the second one. We have now x1 into y1 equals to x4 into y4. Okay, again x1 is 1, y1 is 1 lakh, which is the prize money. Okay, x4 we have 5 and y4 we have to calculate. From here y4 will be, this 1 into 1 lakh will be again 1 lakh divided by 5, so this will give us 20,000. Okay, let's see the part third now. In part third we have x1 again multiplied to y1 equals to x5 into y5. Okay, so x1 is again 1, y1 is 1 lakh, x5 is 8, y5 we have to calculate. So y5 from here will be 1 into 1 lakh is again 1 lakh and divided by 8. So when we divide the two, you will get 12500. Okay, that is 12,500. Okay, so each will get, when the winners are 8, each person will get 12,500. Let's see the next one now. Now we have x1 multiplied to y1 equals to x5 multiplied to y5. Okay, not 5, it will be x6 and y6. So the x1 here is again 1 and y1 is 1 lakh equals to x6 is 10. When y6 we have to calculate from here. Y6 is equals to this 1 into 1 lakh will give us again 1 lakh, and 10 will come in the division. Okay, so the 1 0 will cancel, so what we get is 10,000. Now let's see the next one, part 5. Again we are going to use the same relation, that is x1 into y1 equals to x7 into y7. x1 is 1, y1 is 1 lakh equals to x7 is 20 and y7 we have to calculate. Y7 from here is 1 into 1 lakh is again 1 lakh divided by 20. Okay, that means each will get 5,000 only. Okay, so that's the solution for this question. We have calculated the prize money in each case when the number of winners is 4, 5, 8, 10 and 20 respectively. Okay, we have find their corresponding values. So that's the solution for the question number 2. Now moving to the next question, that is question number 3. It says Rahman is making a wheel using spokes. Okay, so these sticks which are placed inside the wheel are called spokes. He wants to fix equal spokes in such a way that the angle between the any pair of consecutive spokes is equal. Okay, so you want to place these spokes in such a way that the angles between the spokes should remain same. Okay, in every case. So help him by completing the following table. Okay, in first case he has put it 4 spokes, that means the angle in each spoke is 90 degree. Okay, in the second case he has put 6 spokes, and in this case angle is 60 degree. Why 60 and 90 degree? Because we know the complete angle of any circle, or you can say wheel, is 360 degree. Okay, so what we are doing, when the number of spokes are 4, we're dividing it by 4, so we'll get 90. Okay, when the number of spokes are 6, the angle is 60, and when the number of spokes are 8, 10 and 12, we have to calculate. Okay, after that we have to answer these 3 questions. Okay, so let's first complete the table. Now you know, as the number of spokes are increasing, the angle between the consecutive pair of spokes is decreasing. Okay, so this is the example of inverse proportion. Okay, so let's start the answer number 3. Okay, so let this is the case of inverse proportion. Okay, therefore we can use the relation x1 into y1 equals to x2 into y2. So considering these values as x and these as value as y, so this will be x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, and then similarly y1, y2, y3, y4 and y5. Okay, so we can use that x1 into y1 will be equals to x3 and into y3. Okay, so we have x1 is given to us, which is 4, y1 is 90 equals to x3 is also given, which is 8, and y3 we have to calculate. So from here y3 will be this 4 into 90 divided by 8. So this will give us 4 by 8 will give us this 4 when divided by 8 will give us 1 here and 2 here, and this 90 divided by 2 will give us 45. That means the angle between a spoke is 45 and the number of spokes are 8. Okay, so this one is for, let's say, for 8 spokes. Okay, I'm writing that here for 8 spokes. Okay, now let's see for 10 spokes. The relation will be x1 into y1 will be equals to x4 into y4. Okay, so again x1 is 4, y1 is 90 equals to x4 is given as 10 and y4 we have to calculate. From here y4 is, this will be 9 into 4, 90 into 4 divided by 10. Okay, this 90 by 10 will give us 9. 9 into 4 will be 36 degree. Okay, so the angle between the spokes will be 36 degree. Okay, similarly for, now we have 12 spokes, 4 12. Okay, for 12 spokes we have relation x1 into y1 equals to x5 into y5. So x1 here is again 4, y1 is 90 equals to x5 is given as 12 and y5 we have to calculate. So y5 from here will be 4 into 90 divided by 12. Okay, when you solve this 4 by this 4 divided by and 12 will give us 1 here and 3 here, and 90 by 3 will give us 30 degree angle. Okay, so the angle between the spokes is 30. So let's fill the table now. The angle here will be 45. Okay, and we have 36 and 6. Here it will be 36 and it will be 30. Okay, so that's the solution for this table. Now we have to answer 3 questions from here. Are the number of spokes and the angle formed between each pair of consecutive spokes is inverse proportion? So answer for this one is yes, because as the number of spokes increases, the number, or you can say the measure of angle between any pair of consecutive spokes decreases. Okay, second one is calculate the angle between a pair of consecutive spokes on a wheel with 15 spokes. Okay, now the spokes are 15, so we'll calculate it for now. For 15 spokes, again relation will remain same, that is x1 into y1 will be equal. So let's take it as earlier we had y5, so let's take it x6 into y6. So x1 is given to us, that is 4, y1 is 90 degree equals to x6 is now 15 and y6 we have to calculate. So y6 from here will be 4 into 90 divided by 15. 19 divided by 15 will give us 6. 6 into 4 is 24 degree. Okay, so when the number of spokes in the wheel are 15, so the angle between the it is 24 degree. Okay, so we can say hence the angle between the spokes is 24 degree. Hence the angle between these spokes is 24 degree. Okay, let's see the third one now. Third one is how many spokes would be needed if the angle between a pair of consecutive spoke is 40 degree. Okay, that means the value of y is given, that is we are considering as y7. Okay, that means we have x1 into y1 equals to x7 n into y7. So x1 is 4, y1 is 90, x7 we have to calculate, y7 that is the angle between the spoke is given, which is given as 40 degree. Okay, so this will be from here, x7 will be equals to this 4 into 90 divided by 40. Okay, let's create some space here. So this will be divided by 40 equals to, this will give us the angle of 9 degree. Okay, so the ends, so not angle, it will be number of spokes. So right, hence the number of spokes will be 9. Okay, question number 4 is, if a box of sweet is divided among 24 children, they will get 5 sweets each. Okay, so we have a box of sweets having certain number of sweets. Okay, that will be divided among 24 children. That means in each will getting 5 sweets. So now you have to calculate how many each would get if the number of children is reduced by 4. Okay, so earlier we have 24 children, we are reducing the children by 4. That means when we have 20 children, how many each how many sweets each will get. Okay, so as you can clearly understand from here that this is the case of inverse proportion. Okay, because as the number of children increase, the amount of number of sweet each will get will decrease. Okay, and if the number of children start to decrease, the number of sweet each will get will increase. Okay, so let's write the answer number 4. Okay, so I'll write this is the case of inverse proportion, therefore, okay, we can write this in tabular form or we can directly solve it. Okay, so whichever you find easier or convenient for you, you can use that method. Okay, you can write this in the tabular form or you can directly solve this. The question number 4 is, a box of sweets is divided among 24 children. They will get 5 sweets each. So we have a box of sweets having certain number of sweets. Okay, and we have to divide them among the 24 children. Okay, after doing so, the each children is getting 5 sweets. Okay, now we have to calculate how many each would get. That means how many number of sweet each children will get if the number of the children is reduced by 4. Okay, that means we are decreasing the number of children by 4. That is, earlier we have 24 children, so after reducing 4 we will remain with 20 children. Okay, now we have to calculate how much sweet each will get. Okay, so let's start the answer number 4. Let's first represent this information in the form of a table. Okay, so in the row, first row will write number of children's and number of sweets. Okay, when there are 24 children, each is getting 5 sweets. Okay, now we have to calculate if the number of children is reduced by 4, that means number of children will become 20. We have to calculate how much each is getting. Okay, let's consider this to be y2. So this is x1, x2, y1 and y2. Okay, so let's represent this in the form of a table like this. Okay, considering this as the x and this as the y. Okay, so we'll write, as this is the case of inverse proportion, therefore we can use the relation which is x1 into y1 will be equals to x2 into y2. Okay, so in x1 is here is 24, y1 is 5, x2 is 20, y2 we have to calculate. Okay, so from here y2 will be 24 into 5 divided by 20. Okay, so when we solve this 5 will give us 4 here, and the 64 divided by 4 will give us 6. That means number of sweet each children will get is 6. Okay, hence each child will get 6 sweets. Okay, so that's the solution for question number 4. Okay, you can see it's a very simple question. You have to just represent the data in a tabular form. Okay, once you find out that inverse proportion, you can use this relation, and by putting the value you can find the required answer. Okay, so that's a very simple question. Now moving to the next one, question number 5. It says a farmer has enough food to feed 20 animals. Okay, a farmer have enough food to feed 20 animals in his cattle for 6 days. Okay, so he has that much of the food by which he can feed 20 animals for 6 days. Okay, so now you have to calculate how long would the food last if there were 10 more animals in his cattle. Okay, so if we add 10 more animals in the group of animals, so how many days that amount of food will last. Okay, that the amount of food is fixed here. Okay, number of animal is increased from 10 to 30. Okay, as we're increasing 10 more animals. Okay, now we have to calculate how many days this food will last. Okay, let's write the answer number 5. Okay, we're going to represent this data in the form of a table. Okay, first we will write the number of animals and number of days. So whatever the information is given, you will first represent that in a table form. So when there are 20 animals, the food is lasting for 6 days. Okay, now we have increased the animals by 10. That means animal will become 30 now. Okay, now we have to calculate for how many days this food will last. Okay, so let's represent, consider this values as x and these values as y's. Okay, so this is x1, y1 and x2 and y2. Okay, now you can see as the number of animal increase, the number of days food will last will decrease. Okay, because the food is fixed, if the number of people or the person or the animal eating that food increase, the amount of or the number of day that food will last will decrease. Okay, so this is the example of or the case of inverse proportion. Okay, so right, this is the case of inverse proportion. Therefore we can use the relation x1 into y1 equals to x2 into y2. X1 in this case is 20, y1 is 6 equals to x2 is given now as 30, y2 we have to calculate. So from here y2 will be 20 into 6 divided by 30, not 60, it's 6. So the 1 zeros will be cancelled from here. This 6 divided by 3 will give us 2. 2 into 2 is 4. Okay, so that will write as the number of day the food will survive is 4. Okay, so write hence the number of days the food last, okay, is 4 days after adding 10 more animals. Okay, so that's the solution of question number 5. Now moving to the question number 6, we have a contractor estimates that 3% could rewire Jasminder's house in 4 days. 3% can complete the task in 4 days if he uses 4% instead. Okay, earlier he decided to use 3%, which was supposed to be completing the task in 4 days, but the contractor has increased one person, that means he has used four persons instead of three. How long should they take to complete the job? Okay, so let's first write this in the tabular form. This is answer number 6. Okay, we'll write the number of person and the number of days. Okay, so first we'll write number of days and number of persons. Okay, you can interchange that also. You can write the number of days first, sorry, person first and number of days later. Okay, so when the number of days is 4, that means 3 persons were completing the task in 4 days. Now he has used the 4 person, that is number of person will be 4. We have to calculate how much many time or how many days they will take to complete the task. Okay, let's represent this in the form of a table. Okay, now you can see as the number of workers increase or the person increase, the time taken them by to complete the job will obviously decrease. Okay, so that means this is the case of inverse proportion. Okay, so we'll write this is the case of inverse proportion. Therefore we can use the relation that is x1 into y1 equals to x2 into y2. Okay, so in every question you have to identify whether it's an inverse proportion or direct proportion. Okay, according to that you will use this relation. Okay, in case of direct proportion we have x1 divided by y1, while in inverse proportion we have x1 multiplied by y1. Okay, so x1 is 4 now, y1 is 3, x2 we have to calculate, y2 is 4. So from here x2 will be 4 into 3 divided by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So 1 into 3 will give us 3. Okay, that means the 4 person can complete the task in 3 days. Okay, so we'll write hence the number of days taken by 4 person is 3. Okay, you can say the hence 4 persons can complete the job, okay, in 3 days. Okay, so that's the answer for this one. Moving to the next one, we have question number 7. It says a batch of bottles were packed in 25 boxes with 12 bottles in each box. So we have 25 boxes containing 12 bottles in each box. Okay, if the same batch is packed among you, so using 20 bottles in each box, how many boxes would be filled? Okay, so earlier we are fixing only these 12 bottles in a box like this. Okay, so we need 25 such boxes when we are fixing or placing packaging 12 bottles. Okay, when the number of bottles are 12 we need 25 boxes. Okay, now we are started to package 20 bottles in a box instead. So we have to calculate how many boxes we require. Okay, so let's first write this information in the form of table. That is answer number 7. Okay, so we have number of bottles and number of boxes. Number of bottles and number of boxes. So in first case we have the number of bottles. When we are packing 12 bottles in each, we need 25 boxes. Okay, now we have started to package 20 bottles in each. We have to calculate how many boxes are required. Okay, now you can see as we increase the number of bottle in each box, that means the number of boxes we required will start to decrease. Okay, as we increase the number of bottles. Okay, so this is again a case of inverse proportion. So we'll write this is the case of inverse proportion. Therefore we can use the relation that is x1 into y1 equals to x2 into y2. Okay, simply from here considering these as the value of x's and these as the y's. So x1 from here is 12, y1 is 25, x2 from here is 20, and y2 we have to calculate. So y2 from here is 12 into 25 divided by 20. Okay, so this, when you divide these two by 5, you will get 4 here and 5 here, and this 12 divided by 4 will give us 3 here. So 3 into 5 will give us y2 equals to 15. Okay, so answer is, hence the number of boxes required is 15. Okay, that's the answer for question number 7. Now moving to the question number 8, we have a factory requires 42 machines to produce a given number of article in 63 days. So 42 machines, 63 days. Okay, just understand this information. We have 42 machines taking 63 days. So how many machine would be required to produce the same number of article in 54 days? Okay, so days is reduced from 63 to 54. That means the number of machines should increase to complete the same task. Okay, so let's represent this information in tabular form. That's answer number 8. So what we have information, number of machine and number of days. Number of machines and number of days. Okay, these questions are very simple. You have to just represent this data first in tabular form, like number of machine, when the number of machine is 42, they are taking 63 days. Okay, we want to complete the task in 54 days. How many machines are required? Okay, considering these as the value of x and these as the value of y. Okay, so clearly as the number of days decrease, the number of machines should increase to complete the task in the same number, to produce the same number of article. Okay, so we'll write this is the case of inverse proportion. Therefore we can use the relation x1 into y1 equals to x2 into y2. Okay, x in the first case is 42, y in is 63. x2 we have to calculate, y2 is given as 54. Let's do the calculation. Keeping this x2 here, this 54 will go in the division of this number, that is 42 divided by 63 multiplied by 63 divided by 54. Okay, you can divide these by 9. Okay, 9 into 6 is 54 and 9 into 7 is 63. So this 42 divided by 6 will give us 7 here. That means 7 into 7, that is 60. Sorry, x2 will be 49. Okay, that means number of machine required here is 49. Okay, that's the answer. Let's write, hence the number of machines required is 49. Okay, so that's the answer for the question number 8. Now moving to the question number 9, it says a car takes 2 hours to reach a destination by traveling at the speed of 60 km. So it's taking time 2 hour, speed is 60 km per hour. How long will it take when the car travels at the speed of 80 km per hour? That means the speed from 60 to 80 is increased. That means now the time will decrease. Okay, for the fixed destination. So this is clearly a case of inverse proportion. Okay, so let's first write the information in the form of a table. So what we have here is, we have number of hours and the speed of vehicle. Okay, so we'll represent this in the form of a table, that is speed, which is given in the kilometers per hour. Then we have time taken, which is in hours. Okay, So in first case it's taking 2 hours when the speed is 60 kilometer per hour. Okay, we have to calculate how much it will take when the speed is 80 kilometer per hour. That means we have to calculate this y2, considering these as the value of x and these as the value of y. Okay, so we'll write as this is the case of inverse proportion, therefore we can use the relation x1 into y1 equals to x2 into y2. X1 here is 60, y1 is 20, x2 we have increased from 60 to 80, and y2 we have to calculate. So from here y2 will be this 60 divided by 20 multiplied by 20, and this 80 will come in division. Okay, so this 20 dividing 80 will give us 1 year and 4 year. This 60 divided by 4 will give us 15. So y2 is equals to 15. Okay, so earlier it was taking 20 hour. If we increase the speed from 60 to 80, it will take 15 hours. Okay, so we'll write hence the time taken is 15 hours when the speed is 80 kilometers per hour. Okay, that's the answer of question number 9. Now moving to the question number 10, says 2 person could fit a new window in a house in 3 days. Number of person is 3, time take, so number of person is 2, time taken is 3. So whenever we have person working on a job in relation with time, that means this is the case of inverse proportion. Okay, so you are asked two things here. First is, one of the person fell ill before the work started, how long would the job take now, and how many person would be needed to fit the window in 1 day. Okay, let's write this in the table of form first. This is answer number 10. We have number of person and number of days. So earlier it was decided that 2 person will do the job in 3 days. Okay, but in the case 1 person fell ill. That means the person working from 2 to become only 1 because of 1 person fell ill. So we have to calculate how much time they will take to complete this job. Secondly, it says how many person would be needed to fit the window in 1 day. That means if we wish to complete this task in 1 day, how many persons do we need. Okay, considering these as the value of x and these as the value of y, let's calculate this. As you can write, this is the case of inverse proportion. Okay, so we can write, therefore part 1 is, we have x1 into y1 equals to x2 into y2. So x1 is 2, y1 is 3, x2 is 1, y2 we have to calculate. So from here y2 will be, this 2 into 3 is 6, divided by 1, that is 6. That means if 2 person can do that work in 3 days, then maybe 1 person will do the job in 6 days. Okay, that means hence, okay, number of days taken by 1 person is 6 days. Okay, hence the number of days taken by 1 person to do the work is 6 days. Okay, now let's see the second part, that is how many person will be needed to fit the job in 1 day. That means the time has become 1 only. Okay, so we have x1 into y1 equals to x3 into y3. So x1 y1 are 2 and 3, and we wish to complete this job in 1 day. So this, keeping this x3 here, will be 1. So x3 simply is equals to 6 days. Okay, so answer for this one again. Hence, in order to complete the job in 1 day, we need total 6 persons. Okay, so if we want to complete the task in 1 day, we need 6 person to work on them. Okay, or if there is only 1 person working on it, he will take 6 days to complete the task. Okay, so now that's the answer of question number 10. Moving to the question number 11, it says a school has 8 periods, each of 45 minutes. Okay, like in our school we have total 8 periods and each of 25 minutes duration. So question is, how long would each period be if the school has 9 periods a day, assuming the number of school hours be the same? Okay, so we are increasing the number of period from 8 to 9, and the time period or the duration of school hours is same. So you have to calculate how many minutes long a period will be. Okay, so let's represent this in the form of table. That is answer number 11. What we have here is number of periods and duration of period. Number of period and duration of period. Okay, so when we have number of period 8, the duration of period is 45. Now when increasing the number of period from 8 to 9, we have to calculate the duration of period. Okay, so this is in minute, considering this as x and these as the y. Okay, so as the number of period increase, the duration of each period will decrease. That means this is the case of inverse proportion. Okay, therefore we can use the relation x1 into y1 equals to x2 into y2. Okay, so x1 is 8, x2 is y1 is 45, x2 is 9, y2 we have to calculate. So from here y2 will be 8 into 45 divided by 9. So 9 divided by 45 will give us 5. 5 into 8 is 40. Okay, that means the duration of period will be 40 minutes. Hence the duration of period will be 40 minutes. Okay, so that's the solution for the question number 11 of exercise 13.2. Okay, with this we have completed all the question of 13.2 and also the completed the chapter number 13, direct and indirect proportion. Okay, simply in all the question you have to first identify which type of question you have, whether it will be a direct proportion or inverse proportion. Okay, only difference is you will use different relation of x y in the two cases. Okay, like in inverse proportion we have x into y, and in direct proportion we have x divided by y. Okay, so that's the only difference between the two. So now you have to practice all these questions multiple times so that you understand them better. Okay.